Welcome, welcome, soon-to-be Guzmans, and congrats if you just pulled him. Ignore all the tier lists you've seen so far. I'm about to show you the true potential of the most badass SOB in Sword of Convalaria. So, from a design standpoint alone, this guy is untouchable. Literally no other character compares. And he can revive himself during battle, so you have to kill him twice. So where does all this Guz hate come from then? If I were to guess, I would say it's a combination of his low speed and his unique kit. Guzman isn't a DPS, nor is he a control unit or a tank. He's what's called a Bruiser. Where a tank-type character focuses on protecting their team, a Bruiser protects himself, usually with damage mitigation or self-healing effects. They typically have high HP and very good damage output, second only to main DPS units. So with all that in mind, now that we know what Guzman is, I'll show you how to make the most of this Bruiser. Let's start with his trait. Guzman becomes immune to anti-resolve. He possesses toughness, and when injured, his attack is increased by 5%. When dying, his attack is increased by 10%. And when defeated, he transforms into a zombie with no defense at all. Seems good. Just don't build any extra defense on him, focus on damage and HP. But let's come on over to his skill tree for a minute, and let's take a look at the very first branch. Now bear in mind these choices are important, since if you wish to unlock the other branch after you've made your choice, it will cost a very scarce resource. We have Soul Reaping, a passive. If the character defeats an enemy in this turn, recovers 20% HP and 1 energy at the end of the turn. And then we have Coercion. Passive. At the end of the turn, inflicts negative damage 1 and vulnerable 1 on all enemies within a character's 2-tile radius lasting for 2 turns. Now, Coercion isn't a bad skill. End of turn, you get a debuff to enemies around you. It's pretty good. Just not for this guy. Your other choice, Soul Reaping, is the first piece of the Bruiser build. 20% HP and 1 energy at the end of each turn will make him an absolute pain to deal with. Next here we have Soul Catcher, physical damage. Guzman selects one enemy within a cross-shaped range around himself and drags them to his side, dealing 100% AoE damage and inflicting negative move 2 for 2 turns. And Earthshaker, physical damage. Deals 50% AoE damage to all enemies within a 3-tile straight line in the direction, inflicting stunned for 1 turn. Now here either one is okay, but I recommend Earthshaker, just because Guz's speed is so low that he needs the extra range to be able to really get into the fight, and adding a stun on top of it is surprisingly useful. At rank 5, you'll choose your reaction skill, which goes in the second slot on your skill list. You've got Survival Instinct, Reaction. Gains 8% damage reduction before being attacked, 15% additional damage reduction when injured, and 50% additional damage reduction when dying. And you've got Counterattack, Reaction. When hit by an active attack from the front or side, performs a basic attack to strike back if the attacker is within range, dealing 70% of the basic attack's damage. The effect can be activated up to 1 time per round. This is another crucial component to this build. Survival Instinct is very good and will make Guzman much tankier, but it won't provide any other benefits. This is why we'll be choosing Counterattack. The next rank is tricky because either one will work for this build. We've got Evil Luxite Intensification. Support Instant. Guzman sacrifices 45% of his current HP to gain plus attack 2, plus move 1, and regeneration 3 for 3 turns. And we've got Protective Counterattack, Support. Takes 30% less magical damage, and takes magical attacks for all other allies within a character's 2-tile radius. When attacked by an enemy within a 3-tile radius of the character, strikes back, and deals 70% physical damage. Can be activated up to 2 times per round. This effect lasts for 3 rounds. This one over here will make him a more aggressive Bruiser, and this one will make him a more reactive Bruiser. Now, it says here that the range of his counterattacks increases to 3 tiles away from him, and if that means that he can actually hit enemies outside his normal reach, then that would be amazing. But I won't know until I've reached that point. That's why I'm leaning towards Protective Counterattack. It reinforces the route that we're already on, and has the possibility of being absurdly broken. Rank 9 gives us our replacement to basic attacks. Shield Break deals 100% physical damage and gains Shield Break 1 before attacking. Armor Piercing Strike deals 100% physical damage and inflicts negative physical defense 1 and negative magical defense 1 on the target, lasting for 2 turns. I think both are good here, but where Shield Break is only useful with shielded enemies, Armor Piercing is always useful, especially when you know they'll attack you next turn and you'll counterattack it. And our final rank, but not the final piece of the Bruiser puzzle. Lives Devouring, physical damage, prepares for 1 turn and takes 60% less damage during this period. After casting this skill, deals 105% AoE damage to all enemies within 4 tiles. Before attacking, grants 20% lifesteal for 1 turn. And Darkest Blade, physical damage. Single target attack deals 130% damage. Before attacking, character gains mana conversion and will. And if we look into what mana conversion and will do, our choice will be clear. The higher his magical defense is, the higher his attack boost will be. And then when he's injured, that magical defense, and therefore the buff from mana conversion, gets 50% higher. The synergy is just too good to ignore. A big caveat here being Guzman's ability Toughness, which says that he's immune to all injured and dying effects. This would fall under an injured effect, but so would his whole trait kit. So if this is the case, then they built a contradiction directly into their own character's kit, and I would actually agree with everyone's assessment that he's the worst character in the game. But I have more faith in the devs than that. So we're done traits and skills. Let's move on to weapons. These are your options currently. At least all the ones I could find. There's no master weapon list anywhere online that I could find. And a few are decent on him. This one here is actually very good on him and is the cornucopia reward, so it's pretty easy to get. But there's one other axe that was literally made for him and really pulls this build together. It's the Feast Axe. If target HP is lower than the user's when attacking, which it usually will be with all the self-healing, increase attack by 10%. Cool, right? Who cares? That's gravy. The next part is the key that unlocks the whole build. The character recovers 20% HP when defeating an enemy. And this weapon can be acquired from the Weaponry Trial 2, the Mighty Weapon Banner, or if you're very lucky, in the campaign. Are you starting to see how it all comes together? He's healing every turn with one of his rank skills, and again with his weapon with each kill. And he's counterattacking like crazy, and his only elemental weakness is Watchers, so support units. Ooh. And he's going to be damn near unkillable, and he'll probably be killing more enemies off turn than on. But we still aren't finished. The trinket will be the Thorny Ring to increase his damage even more when he's injured. And finally, the Tarot Whisper will be Destruction of the Tower, which increases his damage as long as it's not his turn, which means all his counterattacks. So the counters that did 70% damage before will now be 90%, almost full physical attack damage. Either that or Temptation of the Devil, which is really fun and scales nicely with longer battles. So I hope you can see what an absolute nightmare this guy fully built is going to be to deal with. And of course, it goes without saying, this is just my opinion, build him however you want, or put him on the bench, because to be honest, the less of you that take my advice, the easier of a time I'll have in Arena. Well, thanks for watching. Subscribe to see more SOC videos. Bye.